Why am I no longer playing Genshin Impact? This is a question that from time to time is asked during my streams, in my Discord or in my YouTube comments. I thought it was time to give out a more in-depth answer rather than just saying I'm on a break from Genshin Impact, especially since it's a game that brought many views to my tiny channel. Genshin Impact was my first gacha game ever. In my head I've always seen gacha as a sort of roguelike mechanic. You play a game, but you don't know which characters you'll get, which weapons you will be able to give them, and so on. I've started playing during the original Ganyu banner, so while not being a day one player, Genshin and I go back a long way. Back then, the map only included Mondstadt, Liu and Dragonspine. It was a time during which I was dealing with my little daughter's sleeping issues, which were causing me and my wife to have little to no sleep. Most of my gaming time was during my commute to work and occasional streams during days when I was working from home. For me, the 1.x cycle of Genshin Impact was a really memorable gaming experience. The large world to explore, character design, combat system, the soundtrack. Apart from the racing system and the lack of real fat loot in the world, there wasn't much for which I could criticize the game. Especially when compared to other mobile games, it has a production quality that is simply astonishing. If you've been around long enough, you may remember how Inazuma was received by many players. A lot of people were unhappy about the main story, the limited exploration due to the whole region being composed of fairly small islands, and the puzzles becoming less intuitive, and keep particularly this last point in mind for later. I personally had no problem with Inazuma. I was playing the game daily, doing full artifact fodder runs and often killing all the elites on the map for extra mora and fodder. An update that for many people was amazing is what put the first dent in my personal enjoyment of the game, and that was Sumeru. Exploration for me has always been the most enjoyable aspect of the game. Immersing myself in the world of Teyvat and discovering its little secrets one by one. Kan Sumeru and whole areas of the map were locked behind the completion of multiple quests. At the same time, many game mechanics that were required to solve puzzles and access new areas were only available after completing quests. It's hard to put in words how much this bothered me. We had been waiting so long for a new area that was bringing a new element along. On release day I was so looking forward to exploring the large map of Sumeru, and every few minutes I would stumble upon a cavern that I couldn't enter, a puzzle that I couldn't solve, or a whole area of the map that was blacked out and inaccessible. I'm still suffering from PTSD from the Cursed Aranara quest. And before you think, oh, but they're cute, the quest was great. No, you're basically suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. You have been kept hostage by a semi-mandatory, dull and repetitive quest for multiple hours. At the end of it you got some primals and finally had access to new areas, so the chemicals in your brain are making you focus on the fact that you made it through rather than realizing how bad it actually was. I've enjoyed the desert area a lot though, at least the areas above the ground. Then Fontaine came around. The ground exploration was great and gave me Mondstadt vibes. Being able to go virtually anywhere that I could see in the distance felt like a welcome return to the origins. But I was wrong. Underwater exploration for me was nauseating, a downgrade even compared to Dark Age of Camelot's Trials of Atlantis, released back in 2003. Puzzles also became unnecessarily convoluted. Please note that I'm not using the term difficult or challenging, that would be okay. In Mondstadt we would find an unlit torch in the woods. We would put ember on the field, use a charge shot to light up the torch, and a common chest would spawn. Yay! Then we would find 3 torches, and after lighting them up, nothing would happen. Looking more carefully, we could see a rock in front of a torch, 2 rocks in front of another one, and then 3 rocks. Let's light them up in the right order. Ding! Chest! In Fontaine we need a region-specific gadget used by a character of a specific element to activate a pulsating and hovering globe of water that starts to flow around. We need to follow it closely or it will reset. If we get attacked by enemies on its path, it will reset. Then when it reaches its destination, Nothing happens, because we now need to go underwater to follow a water current that takes us to the other side of the sea, where we get to repeat the same hovering globe of water process to get a common chest. Many recent puzzles in Genshin Impact feel like go from point A to point B with extra unfun steps. I would also like to point out that while the main quest of Fontaine was, for the most part, enjoyable, the prison mission was probably one of the worst gaming experiences I've ever had in my long life. Up there with the cursed cocktail event in Honkai Star Rail. I'm pretty sure the same person designed them. With exploration and puzzles getting worse patch after patch, many of the events not being very interesting to me and feeling like out of context minigames, and the soundtrack quality taking a hit after Yupen Chen left, there hasn't been a ton keeping me in the game, outside of the chance of seeing my favorite characters. I've never been particularly interested in meta discussion in gacha games, because I believe they make it even worse for people who tend to suffer from fear of missing out. So even the spreadership impact trend is something that always had very little value to me, and was not enough to keep me interested in the game. New character is broken! Oh, wow! Welcome to gacha games! When I have little time to play, Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero fit short playing sessions way better. And when by some miracle I have multiple hours to play, Last Epoch has evolved into a fantastic game of which I'm enjoying every single moment. It's now August of 2024. The storage space that on my phone was dedicated to Genshin Impact has been replaced by ZZZ. Is it completely over between me and Genshin Impact? Some content creators will make a video "I'm done with Game X", only to make a "I'm back in Game X" video as soon as there is an update to milk those views for some sweet advertisement money. I don't do that kind of stuff. What I can say is that I haven't logged in the game since patch 4.3, and I have no plans to do it anytime soon. The game is still on my desktop. One day I will definitely want to see where the story goes, but that's something that will happen in a distant future. Even with all the personal issues that I currently have with the game, I would still recommend Genshin Impact to other people, as it can be a truly wonderful experience. But right now it's not the game for me.